have and give him some opportunities. So I tip of the cap to the coach down there, and it's going to be exciting to see what these guys can do.
George Gonzalez-Fibo moves into the leadoff spot. He's come to the plate now, including this plate appearance. We'll see how it ends up, but up to as many as 70 ABs. It'll be Garrett Chun following him up in the on-deck circle. So some guys who have come to the plate some this year, or in Chun's case, considerably. 1-1 the count to Fibo. Fibo, a freshman out of Orlando, one of several youngsters in this lineup that Bethune Cookman really thinks if they can get them going, they are going to be staples for this Wildcats program for some time to come.
Absolutely, and giving these freshmen a few extra ABs and a few extra opportunities is how you develop them and how you get them ready for that next stage and the next year. And, Bethune's always an animal within their conference. They're always in the mix at the end of the year, and they're always a threat to make a regional. So talking to Coach Hernandez, they want to make sure those guys have those opportunities for when they do make that regional. Their regionals that they might make are Florida State, Florida, Miami. So playing teams like Florida State midweek are very important, and giving guys opportunities even more important.
Well, the freshman works the walk to get things started, and that's kind of what I hinted toward. That's not going to go down as an official AB for George Gonzalez-Fibo, but it's a good start nonetheless, a quality plate appearance as he gives way now to Garrett Chun. So a leadoff base on balls by Abraham to his fellow freshman. Now it's Chun, the senior, who jumps on the first offering. Diamez Ross, no problem in center.
That's what John Abraham's going to have to do. Just rely on his fastball. Location, location, location. If he can hit his corners and keep the ball down in the zone. So he left that one up a little bit to Chun, but fortunately he gets the out, hit right to Diamez Ross.
And you mentioned Bethune Cookman and their body of work and how well they typically play in their respective conference. I think a lot of folks familiar with them being in the MEAC. Now, of course, the Wildcats are in the SWAC. And when you look across their body of work in those respective conferences, they've made 16 trips to the NCAA tournament. They've won 18 conference titles over that period of time. And frankly, Brandon, they've started off this year 7-1 in SWAC play.
Absolutely, yeah. They're extremely talented. They're, talking to Coach Hernandez again, he was saying we're able to draw a lot of talent in from around Florida and from around the Miami area, simply because their tough schedule that they play. And they always have an opportunity because they're always right there in the mix in their conference.
Such a heavy concentration of talent here in the Sunshine State, and it makes these midweek tilts between the likes of the Floridas, the Florida States, the Miamis, along with the FGCUs, the Bethune-Cookmans, the FAUs. Really enticing stuff.
Absolutely. There's really not an off week or an off day, especially midweek. You can't really sleep on any of these teams because they're all so talented and so tough.
2-1 the count to Sergio Rivera, who typically leads off for Bethune-Cookman. That one sharply fouled away toward the Florida State dugout. That'll even the count at 2.
Yeah, Rivera's a guy you want to keep off the bases, Sean. He's leading the team in stolen bases with 14 and 18 attempts. So if you can keep him off the base, you're doing something right, I think.
Yeah, he's a guy that Jonathan Hernandez, his head coach, promised us. He said if he gets on base, you will see him attempt to steal. Abraham checking Gonzalez-Fibo.
Yeah, this is one of those teams that you really got to be on your tippy toes as a pitcher. You got to really control that run game because they will steal.
A lot of speed on the base paths. This one will drop in right center.
It's a really good piece of hitting right there by Rivera. This ball's down and away. Good two-strike approach. Doesn't try to do too much. Gets the barrel to it. Shoots it to the outfield for a two-strike single. Really good piece of hitting. Brings up Jose Gonzalez.
Jose Gonzalez. Go ahead.
He's been Bethune's best hitter so far.
And all he did was come in from an NAIA school, Ave Maria, down in the Naples, Florida area. Lit it up offensively there and of course you wonder when you bring in a guy, whether it's from D2, from JUCO, from the NAIA, how will those numbers translate? To your point, Brandon, they've translated incredibly well.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, he's at Ave Maria. You see the numbers, man. Led the team in 8 offensive categories, including tons with his power numbers. Hadn't quite shown those power numbers just yet.
And grounds into the double play right there. A 6-4-3 for Florida State. John Abraham's best friend. It'll be Max Williams stepping into the batter's box first. He'll lead things off for the 14th ranked Seminoles here at Dick Howser Stadium. Williams, who came in and pinch hit in place of Jaime Ferrer late yesterday, also played some left field, will get the start in left field here today, followed up by Smith. Tibbs the third. Jaime Ferrer will be the DH. Marco Dinges will be in the backstop here for Florida State this afternoon. He'll bat fifth. Cantu sixth. for Rose seventh. Cal Fisher starting up the middle once again, and Diamez Ross back in center field, who's so often at the top of the order, today at the bottom of it for Florida State.
Max Williams, hustling all the way down the line right there, makes it very, very close, but ultimately called out. Just a little bit of a rollover. I think that's that changeup we were talking about a little earlier. Down to the lefty, and that's such a hard pitch to hit at any level.
Cintron able to put him away.
See him hustling down the line. I'll tell you what. Back in my day, we used to say the tie goes to the runner, but that was pretty dang close right there.
Check swing by Cam Smith. It'll be strike one at 90 for Correa. This is where things, for those of you who are maybe watching Florida State for the first time, I mean, you're familiar with this part of the order. This is where things typically get interesting, but for the Seminoles especially so, when you've got a guy like Cam Smith, who has been a lean, mean hitting machine, followed up by a guy like James Tibbs, who has been equally so, also has plenty of pop. And so things get sticky quickly as Smith, the sophomore, batting .435, steps in.
And you see the numbers right there, and what's been extremely different for Cam Smith this year is his chase rate. He doesn't chase that pitch outside. He's having a much better two-strike approach. See him, he was quickly down 0-2 and taking 2 balls off the plate.
Rung up on strikes, though. Correa gets through Smith.
Yeah, Correa just finds the outside corner, and as a pitcher, especially in the first inning, man, you just keep working away and taking what the umpire will give you, and you keep working until you find that zone and find that limit. And Correa with a pitch that looks like it must have just caught the outside corner. Cam Smith didn't like it.
And in steps James Tibbs III to his new walk-up song, Suavemente, that he debuted 2 games ago. And, well, he might not be superstitious. Maybe he's just a little stitious. Either way, batting .875, 7 for 8 in those 2 games. I think Suavemente is here to stay.
Yeah, 2 homers and a double in that stretch, too. And you see the infield. I don't know if we can get a shot at the infield. They're playing him to play dead pole right now. And James Tibbs, who's got an excellent eye, sees that the third baseman's playing all the way over by shortstop, tries to lay a bunt down to keep that streak going.
Grounds this one into the shift. No problems at State last year. Played in 54 games. They won 23 of them in the first 27 games of this year, which, folks, by the way, that's half of 54. FSU wins 23.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lee Jarrett doing an excellent job of creating a culture that has just turned this program around in 1 year. That's pretty spectacular. Did a great job of hiring some good guys, doing a great job of recruiting and getting some new faces in here, and you see the turnaround in the numbers already. It's been pretty spectacular.
Yeah, Ty McGahee coming in from Pittsburgh, Micah Posey, the pitching coach, coming in from Dallas Baptist. Brad Vanderglass had been on the staff with Link Jarrett from last year. He stays on the staff this year with the Seminoles. 26 newcomers out of a combination of the portal and, of course, the incoming freshmen, including Abraham. He trails 3-1 here to Irvin Escobar. Popped up into foul territory. Cantu giving chase, and he'll run out of room.
The ball just sneaks out of the ballpark right there. Cantu giving chase. You see anytime a righty's, I always like to see where the first baseman plays when a right-handed batter's up. And Cantu just does an excellent job. He kind of plays way off the bag and gives himself a lot of room to field the ground ball, but that makes it tough on those big fly balls like that.
This one lined into right center. Ross ranges over and makes the play.
Abraham doing a really good job of working back from being down 3-0 right there, throwing three strikes in a row. And Irvin Escobar really barrels this ball up, but Diamez Ross able to track it down.
That'll bring up Michael Rodriguez. And he's another one of those freshmen for Bethune Cookman that head coach Jonathan Hernandez is particularly high on. Thinks he's got a chance to be something pretty darn special.
Yeah, and these are one that, like we talked about, he's only coming into this game with 3 official at-bats. It's a big game, big atmosphere here at Dick Hauser Stadium. So I'm sure he's got a little nerves up there as he's swinging the bat against another freshman, but still a pretty cool opportunity for the young man.
And you mentioned the limited number of ABs. Worked a really solid AB against UCF yesterday. The Knights won a lopsided one against Bethune Cookman. Rodriguez was a bright spot in that affair, and he gets things going here in the second with a 1-out single.
It's a really good piece of hitting right there by Michael Rodriguez. Down 0-2, and Abraham just leaves a fastball up in the zone. I'm sure that was probably meant to be a waste pitch, a little higher than that, but leaves it too high in the zone, and Rodriguez, just a short, quick swing, barrels it up for a single. Good piece of hitting.
So a couple of hits early on for Bethune Cookman. Frankie Febles swings through strike one. And this is that portion of the order, if you were with us at the beginning, that I walked you guys through when we looked at it and told you these bottom 4 guys have combined for a grand total of 18 ABs. Febles has been a guy that has been with Jonathan Hernandez from day one, has grown with the program, has the senior from Hialeah, Florida, but going into last year had some serious health concerns. There were some complications as well, and they said, he's earned the opportunity to play here today, and I'd say so. That one into the corner in left field, and Bethune Cookman will get on the board first. An RBI double for Febles, who gets to third on the throw home.
Yeah, another 2-strike swing and another 2-strike hit. This ball shot right down the line. Honestly, a great play by Max Williams to get to that ball.
On the ground to Abraham, barehanded, toss to the plate, won't get him. 2-0 Bethune Cookman.
That's a little bit of small ball from one of your young guys who has only 3 at-bats on the season. And you see hustling all the way is Febles, and he's in there safe, no problem. Now you're back to a guy on first base with only 1 out.
Here's Xavier Cintron.
I think early in the game, unless you absolutely got it first sure at home plate, I think Abraham, that's just a freshman, a little bit of the freshman hurdles you're working with right there. As a freshman, you probably think it's no-brainer you're going to get the guy home, but you got a college.
Dingus on the throw down into scoring position. Will not get Gidcombe. We had a collision between him and Fisher, both taking an extra second to get up.
Yeah, Fisher going for that ball. I think takes a helmet to the wrist as the ball just sneaks away. And Jack Gidcombe slides in head first and gets a little banged up as well. See it right here. Yeah, as Fisher goes for the ball, I think he just got a little helmet on head action.
So move could come into scoring position for Cintron. 2-0 the count to Xavier.
Yeah, I was going to say, though, if you know, in that scenario where you got the squeeze play, just if you don't absolutely have them at home, go ahead and get the out at first. You trade the run for an out, then you're 2 outs, nobody on, and you're back to normal pitching. But now you're stuck with 1 out and a guy on second base, and it's a lot tougher to pitch in those scenarios. You got guys that tend to put a little more pressure on themselves when they have base runners on.
Now a 4-pitch walk to Cintron, and to add insult to injury here for Florida State, you turn the order over. Gonzalez-Fibo will get another look. He made his way aboard in the first inning with a full count walk off of Abraham. So that bottom part of the order really coming through for Bethune-Cookman here, their first trip to the plate. They set the stage for Gonzalez-Fibo.
You see that curveball first pitch from Abraham, and that's what the coach has said. He's really talented at. He's able to throw that pitch first for a strike early in the count and kind of pitch backwards to guys. You saw it again right there. That's what keeps guys off balance. But where he has struggled today is with that fastball command.
Fan Fibo there, did Abraham. That's his first strikeout of the game.
You see that 3 back-to-back-to-back breaking balls to Gonzalez-Fibo, and he just can't get a read on it. But you see Marco Den just going out to talk to his pitcher. He's got 2 outs. Still got a guy on first and second. But Garrett Chun, who's been pretty exceptional for Bethune-Cookman so far this year, actually hit a ball really hard to center field last at bat.
Brennan Oxford and Noah Short up in the FSU bullpen. First time all season, worth mentioning, I think, Brandon, for Florida State, that they are going 5 in a week. They've been scheduled to do that, but they had one of their FGCU games rained out, so this is the first time they're really getting a taste of 5 in 1 week's time.
Right, and that's always tough on a coaching staff, because it really, you know, you have to really manage your pitching staff on these days like that. And then you see right here, we're going to get I know that's what the Florida State coaching staff's looking for again, right here.
And of course, with Oxford, you get the lefty-lefty matchup on Garrett Chun.
Right. One of 5 different left-handed pitchers to pitch for the Noles yesterday.
And Chun, I think you referenced it well, Brandon, a guy who is a staple for Bethune-Cookman. A grinder, a guy who plays bigger than his 5'8" stature is in black and white.
Yeah, Coach Hernandez said, blue-collar, bulldog mentality.
And the Bulldog goes down swing, and Brennan Oxford comes in and does his job incredibly efficiently. Bethune-Cookman, though, on the board first, 2-0. In year 6 in Daytona as the head man at Bethune-Cookman, prior to taking the helm at the Wildcats house. He was the head coach at ASA College in Miami. First head coach in their program's history, and they won some conference titles there at ASA despite not having a home field. Went on the road everywhere they went, won some conference titles. Before that, he was the head coach at Hialeah High School in Miami, and so, you know, he is as familiar as anybody could be with the talent pool in Florida, especially in South Florida.
Yeah, he is. He has a lot of connections down in South Florida, and you see it with his when you look at his roster. He's done a great job of staying with guys. He's getting guys out of junior college that he may have known all the way back when they were in high school. He's doing a great job utilizing the transfer portal. And see Jaime Ferrer with a bullet to dead center field
And
he
he's
may have a triple.
It will be 3 for Jaime Ferrer. He's got one responsibility today. It's to hit, and he does a darn good job of it here in the second.
Yeah, Jaime Ferrer with a huge hit right there after 2 foul balls, an 0-2 swing, and a rocket to dead center field. And a guy who's not known for his speed very much has got a triple. Look at this guy. He is excited. He does not get to third from home very often.
And I think you referenced
Not
it.
in one swing anyway.
I think you referenced it too, Brandon, in the commercial break. It's interesting, especially for a guy like Joel Correa, a youngster on the bump, 12 pitches to get through the first 3 Seminoles, got through Smith, got through Tibbs, then he sat a while.
Right, and that's always tough. It's tough to come back. You absolutely are appreciative and grateful for your team getting you a couple runs, getting you a little bit of a rest, but sometimes that rest can be a little long and a little boring, and takes a couple pitches to get your groove back. And you see it right there. He leaves that ball just a little bit high, and Jaime Ferrer able to get the barrel to it big time.
Marco Dinges tried to check his swing, came forward though. It's 2-2. The sophomore from New York.
Dinges making his first start behind the plate. Usually DH is for the Noles.
Can also play outfield, Cam Dinges. That one rode in on him. It'll go full.
Was a full-time starter down the road at Tallahassee Community College last year.
Quality plate appearance there for Dinges, and a good start to the second inning for Florida State.
That's a really good pitch by Correa. If he only does it a pitch or two sooner, you don't want to leave that ball in the dirt on ball 4, but Marco Dinges is typically a big-time free swinger and not afraid to chase something out of the zone. I think Joel Correa understanding that right there. Now you got first and third with nobody out, and
you bring up Daniel Cantu.
Yeah.
Cantu, the 4-year starter at South Florida. Graduated in Tampa, came here to Tallahassee. And when you look across everybody's career up and down the lineup here at Florida State, obviously the majority of these starts came in Tampa, but he's got the most starts of anybody in D1 baseball here, at least in this Florida State lineup. 189 today is 190.
Yeah, he's just been solid as a rock throughout his career. And you look at him in there, he's just a patient hitter. He's got a great swing. And he's got a little pop to his bat. He hasn't shown a whole lot of home runs this year, but he is filling the zone up with doubles.
Up the middle it goes. A chance for 2 for Bethune Cookman. That will score Ferrer. 2 huge outs for the freshman. A big run for the Noles just the same.
Cantu just a little out in front of what I can only assume was the changeup. Gets that one off the end of the bat, and shortstop for Bethune Cookman has him positioned perfectly and takes it himself for the double play. Does get the RBI, or at least the run across, but
if you're Correa, you take that though.
Absolutely. You'll take 2 outs for a run. I'll trade that any day of the week.
Ball and a strike to Drew Farreau.
Yeah, Correa's got really good feel. Doesn't overpower you with anything, but he's got good feel for his stuff. You saw that changeup down in the zone right there. Just had Drew fooled all the way. And he comes right back with it, trying to get him to chase.
Farreau, the sophomore, began his career at UCF, batting .309 here in 2024.
Big swing right there from Drew Farreau. Finally gets something up in the zone. Just misses it.
34 hits on the year for Drew. 17 have gone for extra bases. This one tried to sneak its way up the middle, and it leads to an error. They're going to go ahead and score that as a single for Farreau, and I believe that ball got into Florida State's dugout. And so he'll take an extra base on the errant throw. So it's a single and then an error for Farreau.
Yeah, Drew Farreau gets this one off the end of the bat, but man, hustles his butt down the line and I think the scorekeeper said he was definitely going to be safe. It would have been close, but that ball was way over the first baseman's head. And I think you're right. It got in maybe the camera well down there.
And so that puts Drew Farreau in scoring position for Cal Fisher. Off speed, had him fanned 0-2.
And Cal Fisher had a pretty good night for a freshman last night as well. 1 for 3. I think he got hit by a pitch, but had a big double off the wall that ended up coming around and scoring.
Made his first career start on Saturday against Louisville, that on Easter weekend. So the Cards and the Noles went Thursday, Friday, Saturday as opposed to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then again on another start against Jacksonville, and started again today, but goes down on strikes. Corre fans ordered due up here to square off with Brennan Oxford, who came in to relieve Florida State's freshman starter John Abraham. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. Sean Davison, Brandon Reichert, our entire ACC NX crew here with you as the Wildcats take on the 14th ranked Seminoles this afternoon. It's Sergio Rivera kicking things off here in the top half of the third for Bethune Cookman. They will go 3-4-5 to get things started. Rivera with a single back in the first.
Yeah, typically they're leadoff batter. You saw him try to lay a bunt down right there.
Elevates this one out to left field. Got under it though, and so too is Max Williams.
Just out in front of that pitch right there from Brennan Oxford, who has been pretty dominant since it's been in. 5 of 6 pitches for strikes and a strikeout and a quick pop out to one of the better hitters in the Bethune-Cookman lineup.
And so up steps Jose Gonzalez, who grounded into a double play in the first inning. It actually put an end to the inning, and we were in the process of digesting these numbers when he did so. All of these incredibly impressive.
Yeah, he's had an exceptional career at his former school, Ave Maria, but he's really brought those talents over here to Bethune-Cookman as well. He led his team in 8 offensive categories last year, including total hits, I believe doubles, RBIs, you name it. Like he was lights out for that team last year, and he has really done a good job so far this year. Coming into today with a .343 average, 20 RBIs. You don't see the power numbers you were quite seeing as in a stint in Ave Maria, but Coach Hernandez thinking that's only a time to come. That's coming soon because he's definitely got the ability.
Yeah, with the ground into a double play in the first, the batting average down a couple of points now to .340. On base percentage though at .452 for Gonzalez. Welcome to D1 baseball, Jose. He's been off to clearly a great start. Behind here, 1-2 to Oxford, and reached down and got it. A single into left for Jose Gonzalez.
Yeah, not a bad pitch at all by Brennan Oxford. You know, he's ahead 1-2, throws that little sweeping slider, tries to get it into the back door right there. Maybe caught a little bit too much of the plate, but Jose Gonzalez, just big, strong, mature hitter, gets the barrel to it, has a great 2-strike approach right there, gets himself a single. Good piece of hitting.
And that'll bring up Irvin Escobar. First pitch swinging, slow roller to Smith. Force applied at second, and that'll be all Florida State gets out of it.
Yeah, this ball fielded cleanly over there by Cam Smith. Comes up, gives a little bit of a rough feed to Drew Farreau at second base. He got him, pulled him off the bag a little bit and made it tough to make that double play. But, you know, if somebody got hurt or if you had to give an opportunity, if there's a little bit of a break on the field, you see the umpire coming out and confirming the call at second base. He is out. Looks like Drew Farreau was able to keep his foot on the bag. And that's going to give the Noles 2 outs. But again, you want to see Brennan Oxford come back out right here and just establish that fastball again. You don't want to give that guy too big of a break or too much of a break because you don't want him to cool off.
Based on the angle that we saw, that appeared to be the right call by our umpiring crew here. That Gonzalez was, in fact, out at second. And Oxford comes out with ball one to Michael Rodriguez. Rodriguez with a single. Febles followed him up with an RBI double in the second. Then Gidcombe behind Febles with an RBI fielder's choice. Attempted to lay down the sack, and FSU got neither Febles at the plate or, of course, Gidcombe at first. And so those are the two runs that Bethune Cookman has scored.
Brendan Oxford with a good fastball right there. Down 2-0. You got to come back into the zone, but you don't want to make anything too hittable. Good pitch right there by Brendan Oxford.
Right back up the middle. That'll get through. Michael Rodriguez with a couple of base hits to get things going here this afternoon. And that is a youngster making the most of his opportunity here today.
Absolutely. Coming into today with only 3 at-bats. Did have 1 hit in his 3 at-bats. Now already 2 for 2 here tonight. Again, not trying to do too much, but taking full advantage of his opportunities when he gets them. That's what you want to see. That's what Coach Hernandez wants to see from these young hitters.
Something tells me, looking at that young man over at first, when you add in the 2 base hits and the 2 ABs today, and he's 3 for 5, batting .600. I think we might have a new batting average leader in the SWAC.
He might have one. He's what, 3 for 5 on the season now. 600.
You got it. That would be a 600 batting average so far for Mikey Rodriguez.
We have Frankie Febles up now, who hit a double his last at bat with Michael Rodriguez on first base, able to score him from first.
1-1 fastball strike for Oxford. It's a Bethune-Cookman team that the power numbers are down. I think part of that can also be attributed to the fact that they play in Jackie Robinson Ballpark in Daytona. It's a pro park on the water, wind blows in, so a lot of times the extra base hits, or at least the ones that do the most damage, you're kind of at the mercy of the elements there.
They're hard to come by, especially in the colder weather. Florida, you know, people think Florida's always sunny. It's always hot. It's not necessarily the case early in February and March. So you gotta take what you can get when you can get it.
Well, Florida State would have had to strike him out. FSU going 9-1 to Diamez Ross, showing off the wheels. He's safe at first.
Diamez Ross reading that all the way. You got a right-handed pitcher coming off the mound, not throwing too hard. We're not getting a whole lot of solid contact off of him, but sees that pitch down, sees the third baseman back, lays a perfect bunt down, does not even draw a throw because you got a speed demon in Diamez Ross.
Ross 6 for 6 on the base paths. Florida State 36 for 38 in their stolen base attempts on the year, already outnumbering their total stolen bases from all of last year. They had 4 more last night against Jacksonville.
They did, absolutely. It's been pretty awesome to see Florida State change that part of their game. That's one of those things that kind of goes under the radar as when you're looking at stats and when you're looking at numbers, and Florida State doing an exceptional job of getting that extra base. As you see Diamez Ross taking off right away.
Another stolen base for the Seminoles.
Another stolen base for the Seminoles, and that's why it's so important to get your leadoff base or your leadoff batter on base, because especially when it's a guy that's usually the leadoff hitter, right? He's batting out of the 9-hole, and you get your leadoff batter coming up, back-to-back leadoff batters, really. But you put Diamez Ross on second base, now a single scores him almost guaranteed.
Well, last night, if you tuned in, you saw Jordan Williams steal second and third on consecutive pitches, no less. Diamez Ross certainly plenty capable of doing something in a similar fashion in scoring position. He referenced it, Brandon. He's familiar with leading off. He leads off this inning for Florida State with the order turning over to Max Williams. That'll get to the backstop, and just like that, the potential tying run is 90 feet away for the Seminoles.
Yeah, just a tough pitch right there from Joel Correa. That ball bouncing and getting past catcher Irvin Escobar. But Diamez Ross with a good jump. I was going to tell you, I don't think Diamez Ross in a good position to steal third in this case with a left-handed hitter up. The third, the catcher's got a clear throw to first base or to third base, so it's always tough unless you get an exceptional jump, and you never want to make the first or the last out at third base in an inning. So I don't think he was going to steal there, but I do appreciate his dirt ball read and how quickly he was able to get to third.
2-2 the count to Max Williams. Florida State looking to knock this up at 2 or perhaps do a little bit more damage than that. That one pulled foul. Yeah, just going back to base running, Brandon, I think it's interesting. Link Jarrett told us a few weeks ago that, a lot of teams, they go about conditioning in different ways. The way he chooses to go about conditioning with Florida State is their dirt ball reads and their base running. And so, A, you drill the base running. B, you're also conditioning your team while you do it.
Yeah, what you're doing is you're developing an instinct, right? The quicker and sooner you read that ball out of the hand of the pitcher and you recognize that it's going to be a dirt ball read, the sooner you can get a jump and the more safe you're going to be. Because you can't guarantee that the catcher's not going to block it up and have a throw. But if you get that extra step, that's the base running instinct that coach is developing.
Hot shot to second. That will get away, and Diamez Ross will score. Williams is safe as well on a hard hit single toward right field.
Good piece of two-strike hitting there by Max Williams. That ball was scorched. Oh, my goodness. This ball was hit about 150 miles an hour in the second baseman. I don't know if it just maybe the sun got in his eyes or what, but, man, he just could not get out of the way of that ball quick enough. And a great piece of hitting by Max Williams because you got a guy on third. Even if you ground that ball out, you do score the tying run. And good on him for hustling down to first and getting a single out of it.
And so just like that, we're knotted up at 2. Cam Smith steps into the batter's box. Correa got Smith looking back in the first.
Yeah, on 3 very, very well-placed pitches on the outside corner. Has that arm side run, was able to start it. Almost looks like it's starting in the other batter's box and kind of runs back in over the plate and just took full advantage of the wider strike zone by home plate umpire Brandon Folks. And Cam Smith's not a guy you want to give a whole lot of balls in the zone to. You look at these numbers right here.
.435 the batting average, slugging north of 700, 50 hits. That's 1.85 per game. All that is 5th best in the country for Cam Smith. Every conceivable category, he checks all those boxes. 15 extra base hits as well. So, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got several multiple hit games this season. It's really not surprising to see this guy hit some balls hard. Abs just misses a ball right there. Cam Smith's got the power to hit it out to all sides of the ballpark, but chooses to hit this one to the deepest part of the ballpark, and Joel Correa's got his first out of the inning.
Bunt single for Diamez Ross, an RBI single for Max Williams. A deep fly out for Cam Smith, and now in steps James Tibbs III, who grounded out to first.
And Correa really paying attention over there. Max Williams doesn't want to give up another stolen base.
Williams 2 for 2 on his stolen base attempts so far this season.
Yeah, Florida State, you run down the list, and just about everybody's 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4 for 4 in stolen bases. Diamez Ross now 7 for 7 in stolen bases, and only a couple guys on the team have been thrown out at all.
Yeah, Florida State as a team nearly perfect in that department. The only guy in the starting lineup that has been thrown out, and it's been once, was Marco Dinges.
Right. Who was catching tonight.
Yes.
And you typically don't see the catcher stealing too many bases. I believe the only other guy to be thrown out is the other catcher, Jackson West.
1-1 meanwhile, the count to Tibbs. This one pulled foul.
Yeah, James Tibbs been swinging a hot bat. What makes him so special is his patience and discipline at the plate. Man, he really makes the pitcher come to him.
Batting north of 400 at what's essentially the halfway point now of the regular season, when you keep in mind that Florida State played 54 games last year, and that was the entirety of their season. Didn't qualify for the ACC tournament. And through the first 27 games this year, they're 23-4. Tibbs has been a big catalyst of that, and it's the average, it's the walks, it's the ability to hit for power. This guy just checks all the boxes, doesn't he?
He does, and it's a guy you got to have in the middle of your lineup. But you know, you really need to tip your cap to the guys who seem to keep getting on base in front of him. You know what I mean? And this guy hits so much better. I mean, he hits all the time. Don't get me wrong, but he hits incredibly well with runners in scoring position. And that right there, that's a great take by James Tibbs. That is a tough pitch to lay off of. Very, very close pitch, but that just shows you how good his discipline at the plate is. Another one. That's a really two back-to-back pitchers' pitches. And he's already worked the count to full now.
If he walks, he will have double the amount of walks to strikeouts on his season. Hits this one on a line to right, it'll drop. That's better than a walk for James Tibbs. The third will put runners on the corners for Florida State.
And that just shows you, man, that's a two-strike approach. He's not trying to do too much, man. That ball, again, a 3-2 off-speed pitch down in the zone, breaking away from his one-hopping the center field wall. Now he's got to do it with runners on base.
Corday, the freshman, will be responsible for the runners on the corners if they are to score. Make that runners in scoring position if they are to score. James Tibbs III with a stolen base.
Yeah, and Groark quickly with 2 strikes to Jaime Ferrer. Now Jaime's got 2 runners in scoring position. The infield's going to be drawn in right here.
Fastball up above the zone to Jaime Ferrer.
Yeah, this is a scenario as a hitter, you really got to drive something to the outfield. Even a pop fly deep to the outfield gets you a run in, gets you an RBI. You just don't want to hit a ground ball to the infield.
That one fouled away.
A line drive or a hard, deep fly ball gets the job done. And Jaime Ferrer, no stranger to hitting either one of those two.
Lays off the 1-2. Good decision by Ferrer. It evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes to a guy who's had a good year this year. 327 the batting average. He's driven in 25 runs. And was clipped by that pitch. Wow.
Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody was going to get hit by a pitch today, it was going to be Jaime Ferrer.
That is now hit by pitch number 9 for Jaime on the year. And that's top 10 in the ACC.
I'll tell you what, this one right here might be the best one he could ever dream of. That ball right there just clipping the elbow pad. If you're going to get hit in the protective wear and just barely. I think the catcher is framing it up for a strike, and umpire called it right away, said that he was hit by that pitch. That's going to bring up Marco Dinges with bases loaded and only 1 out. I'm going to tell you what, this is one of those scenarios. You see the corner infielders are going to be drawn in. As a third baseman or a first baseman, you're looking to field that and get this out at home. But Dinges is a guy that hits the ball extremely hard, and the middle infield's going to play back. You got to give yourself the best opportunity for the easiest double play.
Breaking ball. This time he grounds to third and is doubled off at first.
So good at times, but you've also you got to get over some of those hurdles that some of the freshmen experience and some of those nerves. And there's highs and there's lows, and Hudson Rowan's seen both of them. Yesterday, not his best outing. Gets two batters, gets pulled, and Coach Link Jarrett and Coach Micah Posey giving him a quick, just hey, bounce right back, give him another opportunity, put him right back on the bump today.
And for Bethune-Cookman, you think about the way the last half inning ended. The double play ball, and you've got Florida State threatening, pushing. They scored a run in the third, yet here as we kick off the fourth, it feels like Bethune-Cookman stole that momentum right back.
Absolutely. If you look at the scoreboard, it's pretty evened up over there. You got 2 runs and 5 hits on each side, and it's been back and forth. It's been a battle so far today from both teams. I'll say that.
Bases full of Seminoles in the third. A ground ball double play to third. Put an end to FSU's offensive efforts, and now a leadoff walk for Jack Gidcombe as Bethune-Cookman goes 8-9-1 here in the fourth.
Yeah, Hudson Rowan, he's got to find that fastball command. He's got all the ability in the world. He's got swing and miss stuff, but he just tends to try to overthrow at times. If he can find that rhythm that the coaches are looking for from him, I think he's going to be a very, very good pitcher. But
it's the second time in this game that Bethune-Cookman has gotten their leadoff man aboard, both times via the walk. George Gonzalez-Fibo, who is in the on-deck circle right now, as a matter of fact, for the Wildcats, led off this game with a full count walk. And now, of course, ahead of another count, they have been incredibly productive.
Right, through 7 at-bats so far. They've only made 1 out. Taking full advantage of the opportunity they're given, which is very, very cool.
3-0 the count. Fastball strike at 93 for Hudson Rowan.
Yeah, Hudson Rowan's got some velocity, but again, man, he's got to find that command. Keep it in the zone. He's a guy who can really be a tone setter out of the bullpen for Florida State if he just cleans up those walks. And you see 2 more quick walks already today.
Yeah, you watch him and you watch the stuff, and you can tell it's there. It's harnessing it. That's going to be the big thing here for Rowan. So consecutive walks to the 8 and 9 hole hitters for Bethune-Cookman. Florida State as a staff has issued 5 to this point.
Yeah, and you see Bethune playing small ball with their leadoff hitter Gonzalez-Fibo here. First and second, nobody out. You're going to try to lay a bunt down, sack them over to second and third. You'll take second and third with 1 out all day long.
I correct myself. That's 4 walks issued by Florida State's pitching staff today. Gonzalez-Fibo popping up the bunt.
That might be best case scenario. If you can get him to pop the bunt up right here, you may end up with inducing a double play.
That one fouled off himself. I think everybody got hit there. I think Brandon Folks wore a piece of that. Link Jarrett's going to come out and have a chat with them.
Love to see Marco Denz is doing a great job as a catcher right there. Anytime the umpire gets hit, man, you try to take your time, give him a minute, let him recompose himself. This ball right here, just off the bat, hits him square in the mask. Tell you what, umpire protective gear has gotten very elaborate throughout the years.
100%. And Brandon Folks looks to be all right. Good to see. I wasn't so sure initially that ball didn't also catch a piece of maybe Dingis's shoulder. It didn't. It was all on, folks.
Yep, directly to the face, it looks like. That ball right there just missing up in the zone. 2-2 to the batter, Gonzalez-Fibo here.
K-time chance. That one sharply hit but foul.
You see Rowan starting to find that zone again.
Gonzalez-Fibo, for his part, a guy who in his first career AB notched a home run. Ups and downs since, inconsistent. I think very similar concept to what we talked about with Rowan, except he's a hitter, not a pitcher. Ups and downs, navigating the freshman year, looking to find that consistency is Gonzalez-Fibo.
Right.
Who's now in pitch 7, or we'll see pitch 7 of this AB.
Yeah, doing a good job of battling through this, man. This, you know, for a guy that just walked 2 guys, you don't expect to see a lot of strikes, but he's doing a good job of fouling these balls off and keeping it out of the zone.
That one's upstairs,
Keeping
it runs
himself
full.
in it.
Big pitch here for Rowan.
This ball into the gap.
And Diamez Ross ranges over to make the play. That'll hold the runners.
Gonzalez-Fibo fighting through a tough at bat right there, but Hudson Rowan able to find the zone for that last pitch, gets in on the hands a little bit of Fibo, and although it looked like it was going to go towards the gap a little bit, Diamez Ross able to track it down pretty easily, and no runners tag up.
Lefty-lefty matchup for Florida State. Rowan working on Chun, and that's more like it for Hudson Rowan. Good start.
Yeah, that's what you want to see, and that's where he's going to be really, really special, is that lefty-lefty matchup, because he does such an incredible job of hiding the ball for a lefty. He doesn't show the batter the ball until it's almost out of his hand.
Chun 0 for 2 today. And now 1 and 2 against Hudson Rowan. Fly out and a strikeout for the senior from Jacksonville.
Yeah, strikeout coming against another lefty, Brendan Oxford.
On 3 pitches, no less.
Yeah, Brendan Oxford's first 3 pitches of the game, actually.
2-2. Got it. Hudson Rowan digging deep here in the 4th.
You see him chasing the high heat here from Rowan, and that's just what makes him so special, man. If you could just see how long he keeps that ball hidden in his glove before he releases it, man, a lefty-on-lefty matchup is so tough against a guy like Rowan, who can really throw hard, has the ability to spin that breaking ball, but, man, hides the ball so well.
It's
now
with strike
really
1 to Sergio Rivera. You can start to see that confidence starting to
starting
build.
to feel it a little bit, which is what you got to have from a guy out of the pen.
That one fouled away. 0-2. It's those little things too, Brandon. What can you stack? The positive experiences, the things that you can take away. It started off sketchily enough for Hudson Rowan, but he has done an admirable job of working to this point, and he gets out of the jam. Back underway here in Tallahassee. These guys are fired up. They actually beat us back from break. 2-0 the count to Daniel Cantu. Florida State a trip and a half through their batting order. Cantu batting 6th for the Seminoles here this afternoon. He'll lead things off here in the home half of the 4th. Called strike there on the corner by Brandon Folks.
Yeah, Cantu taking all the way, 3-0. Now you're looking for a fastball, something you can really do damage with. 3-1 right here.
Pulled the trigger, it goes full.
Yeah, just underneath it. You see Cantu must have just pulled his head a little bit. That ball looked like a good piece, good ball to hit, and not a bad swing.
Fouls that one away. It remains full to Cantu. A guy who had a 9-game hitting streak from Game 2 against New Orleans to Game 2 at Clemson. Has really been a catalyst for Florida State in some of their bigger matchups, including against Florida. No hits in the last several games, though, for Cantu, but that'll work just fine. Florida State with their second walk of the game, a leadoff walk for the veteran.
Yeah, you said it. He hadn't had a good run in his last handful of games as far as hitting, but he's a guy that tends to find his way on base. Coming into today with a 446 on base percentage, that's what you want to see. That's pretty good, especially from your first baseman.
That sets the stage for Drew Farreau, a guy who got off to a hot start this year. Cooled off just a little bit, but the batting average and the on-base percentage still solid for Farreau, who in addition to that has 13 doubles on the year. That's second best in the ACC, top 10 in the NCAA.
Right, he's Florida State's only switch hitter, so getting some looks from both sides of the plate throughout the season, and he's been pretty exceptional from both sides. Definitely shows a little more power from the left-hand side, but able to put the bat on the ball from both sides, which is pretty special.
Big swing there from Farreau, got underneath it though, and that is playable in center field for Rivera.
Drew Farreau just missing this ball right here. Gets way under it, pops that ball, what we call a big league pop-up, but right to the center fielder. So get your leadoff runner on. You really want to do something to get him over, right? You got to do some damage. You're trying to hit a line drive right there. Drew Farreau just trying to do a little too much, I think, with that at bat.
First pitch breaking ball to Cal Fisher, who had a home run against the University of Louisville this past weekend. His second on the season to go along with an opening night home run against Butler. Stepping in to the tune of Islands in the Stream. How do you like that walk-up song?
Hey, he's got a little swagger for a freshman, I'd say. He's got a little confidence up there. He's been pretty special. Every time he's made contact, it's been hit very, very well. But I will say, as a freshman, he seems to be a bit of a free swinger. Maybe taking advantage of the opportunities he gets, but he's a big, strong guy. He's got some power, man. But you see it right there. That's that freshman swing right there. He was no stranger to swinging at a ball outside of the zone. And I think Patrick Groart knew it. He throws him a curveball in the other batter's box, and Cal Fisher just cannot decommit to that.
Fisher a little frustrated, I think, too, with that strike 2 call, as that ball skips into Diamez Ross.
You see the senior Cantu. We talked about dirt ball reads, man. He got an excellent jump on that. He saw that ball down all the way. No hesitation, took second base.
Runner in scoring position for Florida State. FSU as a team with 5 hits in their first 14 ABs. So as a team, they're hitting .357 in this one. They've created some opportunities, haven't cashed them in with the frequency that, of course, they would want.
Right.
This one fouled away.
And you got Diamez Ross, who's just been a spark plug in this lineup all season long, man. One thing I really enjoy watching him play is he almost never doesn't have a smile on his face. He's always having a good time out there on the baseball field.
FSU trying to get this guy healthy. I bumped into him pre-game and got a thumbs up from him, so he's starting to feel better. He's had some nagging injuries throughout the course of his career to this point. That's been one of the reasons why he's been a little bit more up and down the order this year for the Seminoles.
Well, you see him, like I said, he's a spark plug. Look at him fighting through this at bat. He's behind 1-2, and he's going to just fight him off. The pitch before that one was a curveball down, stays on it, fouls it off. That's a fastball, good fastball in the outside corner, stays on it, fouls it off.
And now he golfs this one into left field. Crashing down and making the play is Chun. And that'll strand Cantu in scoring position. We remain tied through 4 here in Tallahassee. Or Yoel Tejeda. He's also come in against Western Carolina, New Orleans, and most recently at Clemson.
You see that slider right there. Starts Jose Gonzalez off with it. Good down in the zone pitch. Start the at bat.
Went right back to it on the 0-1.
Yeah, I think he's pitching the 4-hole hitter a little backwards here. Trying to get him to chase something.
2 runs, 5 hits for either side to this point in this one. An error also in the Bethune Cookman column. 2-2 the count to Jose Gonzalez.
That's a really greatly located slider down and away to the righty.
That one down, it goes full. Got him. What a start for Yoel Tejeda Jr.
Just slider. Yoel Tejeda able to locate that ball, and even his misses were down in the zone. So that's a great pitch, and that's a great sign of things to come for Yoel Tejeda Jr., who I know wants to get more innings on the mound. And if he can just keep that up, I'm sure he's got plenty more coming. You see the fastball running up to 96 right there, but if he can get it in the zone.
Two balls, no strikes to Irvin Escobar. Escobar, a 3-year guy out of Puerto Rico for Bethune Cookman. 3 balls, no strikes. Crowd wanted the fastball called strike 1. Not to be, though, to Escobar, the catcher, a guy who has been rock solid defensively, but has been more offensive of late for the Wildcats. And he got nothing to swing at there.
Yeah, nothing close on that pitch, but this has been the story for Tejeda right now. It's Tejeda Jr. He's got all the ability to just swing and miss stuff. He's got all of it. He's got a huge arsenal, but he has got to gain command of that fastball. You've seen it from a couple guys from Florida State out of their pen so far today, but that's been the story, just command of that fastball.
First pitch strike to Michael Rodriguez. 2 singles for Michael today. Good looking numbers.
Yeah. I don't care what part of the season you're in, 600's always looking good. Quickly down 0-2, and 2 really strong fastballs by Tejeda right there.
High heat there at 95 inside to Rodriguez.
Not a bad pitch, though, man. Good pitcher's pitch up in the zone. Really an unhittable pitch, but great job by Michael Rodriguez to take it.
That one skips in. Dingus couldn't glove it. So Escobar is now in scoring position for the Wildcats. An opportunity perhaps for Michael Rodriguez, who has yet to be retired today.
That's one thing that Bethune Cookman does very well is they take the extra base. They put themselves in a position to score as well as they possibly can.
Another one steps in, it goes full. Fouled away, and I want to go back to something that Jonathan Hernandez mentioned to us. You know, power more so a calling card last year for Bethune Cookman. He said this year we're just more versatile. He said we get things done in a variety of ways. We grind out ABs differently. We get on base. We make things happen. This one
absolutely
up the middle.
does.
That will advance Escobar to third.
See that? Good play right there, and good job by Tejeda to stay within himself during that at bat, and that's what you got to do. You can't, you know, when you have stuff like he has, you got that wipeout slider, you got the 96-mile-an-hour fastball, you're probably used to striking a lot of guys out, but you got a great defense behind you. Just throw strikes and let these guys get themselves out, and that's where you're going to find the most success. Don't try to do it all by yourself. Let your team work with you.
First time Rodriguez was retired today. Here's Frankie Febles taking on, of course, Yoel Tejeda. And just going back to Tejeda and the stuff for a second, Brandon. This is a guy before he even set foot on campus in Gainesville. And, of course, he transferred here from there. Was drafted in the 19th round by the Pirates out of high school. So that's just top end. You see what he's capable of even before he even set foot in college.
Absolutely, and you got to know. I mean, these scouts, when anytime you're lighting a radar gun up like Tejeda Jr. can do, you know the scouts are going to be there, and you're always going to have an opportunity to play at the next level when you have that kind of stuff. But you know, they really, the opportunity to play in these big D1 programs, for him is the main thing is to use each opportunity to get better and better and better, and hopefully increase those chances to get drafted maybe a little higher down the road.
Looking for his second strikeout here in his inning of work, and he'll get it. A fist bump.
They've done it since before I was a kid. I remember coming here. But I love it. They started on the first pitch of the middle of the fifth inning, and it's just as much a tradition here as any other ballpark in the country. I'll tell you that.
It all began with the Winter Olympics when it was in Canada, and that ball might have been hit to Canada. Max Williams puts the nose in front.
Incredible swing by Max Williams. Just shows you this kid's versatility, man. Tries to show bunt the first pitch of that at bat, gets the fastball and smokes it over the right field wall for his third home run of the season. Go get him, Max Williams. You see this pitch right here just catches too much of the plate, and Max Williams, as soon as he hits it, he knows it. Locked in. That's always special. When you can get that kind of power out of your leadoff spot, you know things are going well for you.
This is what usually follows Canada, and it also usually follows Florida State scoring a run. So in synchronicity, the home run brings the Animals of Section B to the spelling of the school's name. And here we are.
Another big tradition, and you'll see Max Williams come out of the dugout and give a tip of the cap to the Animals, as also is tradition.
4:07 off the bat of Max Williams out into the parking lot next to the FSU Hitters count to Cam Smith. 3-1, and he can do damage. And he looked like he wanted to do it right there.
Yeah, he just missed a ball. He hit a ball very, very well to center field his last at bat. That ball just a little high out of the zone. Gets him to chase.
Has yet to make his way on base so far in this contest. Fouls that one away. It remains 3-2.
And Cam Smith has been on base now 38 games in a row. That walk right there. I was going to say he has had a heck of a streak of getting on base.
Had to hold your breath there for a second, didn't you?
Oh man, that was a close one. Yeah, tell you what, that was a very, very close pitch. But Cam Smith ultimately winning that battle with pitcher Patrick Groark.
And the hits just keep on coming. Here comes James Tibbs III. Jaime Ferrer will be in the on-deck circle. The teeth of Florida State's order.
Yeah, and anytime you have no outs, especially as a pitcher, I mean, you get that leadoff home run, and then you give up the walk. That's the kind of momentum that makes a really good hitting team hit even better. So Patrick Groark's got his work cut out for him here as he's trying to keep Cam Smith close over there.
Smith 3 for 3 on the base path so far this season. 1-1 the count to James Tibbs III. Singled his last time to the plate. Worked the count full, spoiled some pitches. Just a pro caliber AB his last trip into the batter's box for James Tibbs III. We've seen a ton of that out of the junior.
You see his ability, man, just to take those very close pitches and make the pitcher come into the strike zone to him. And when they do, he does not miss the barrel very often. Last at bat with 2 strikes gets a really good single to right field.
On base percentage of nearly 500 for James Tibbs III at 496 to be specific.
Like you said, man, he just finds his way on base, and that's pretty exceptional. You get that power out of your leadoff spot. You got your 2-hole hitter, who's one of the better hitters in the country at this point, taking his base, getting walks, and then you got James Tibbs in the 3-hole, who might be as patient as some teams' leadoff hitter.
He's got a hitter's count whenever he sees the ball thrown his direction. A lot of checks to first and Smith. Here comes the 3-1. And that is lifted out to right field, carrying to the wall. Goodbye! And just like that, that is how quickly the Seminoles can strike.
You gotta love it for James Tibbs. Another home run, back-to-back nights with a home run. This ball, 3-1 count, in on his hands. James Tibbs pulls the barrel into the ball and just lifts it up and over the right field wall. I think that one hopped the circus tent out there. And James Tibbs, not
older brother Joanne, was the closer for Bethune Cookman. Saw him in Tallahassee last year, Brandon, and in fact, the elder Gonzalez signed with the Padres over the offseason, and best of luck to him. Also worth mentioning, Nolan Santos was a 7th-round draftee, so Bethune Cookman getting a guy up there. Santos, their Friday guy from a season ago.
shows you how capable and how good this team is at developing good pitching.
Let's see what Jeffrey can do here against Jaime Ferrer. It's 2-1 to Jaime.
Tell you what, his Jeffrey's brother Joan was a pretty good pitcher, man. Mid-90s, great slider. Had good stuff, man, and obviously good stuff with the opportunity to sign with the San Diego Padres. But Jeffrey not too bad himself. On high 80s, low 90s fastball. You see the off-speed stuff so far to Jaime Ferrer, and it's been pretty good, keeping it down in the zone. That one gets away from him, but I'll tell you what, there's not a bigger ball magnet in the park than Jaime Ferrer. That gets hit a lot.
Already has been hit by a pitch earlier today. Has also recorded a triple, so Ferrer has made his way on base both times he's come to the plate. Full count to Jaime. That one gets away. Ferrer chugging down the line, but will be thrown out at first after the drop third strike by Escobar.
Yeah, that ball right there, just good, dirty slider down in the zone, and Jaime Ferrer chases, can't lay off of it. Although the ball does kick away, catcher was able to get to it and make a good throw to first for the out. First out of the inning.
That'll bring up Marco Dinges. A walk for Dinges in the second. Grounded into a double play with the bases full of Seminoles his last trip to the plate back in the third. That put an end to the inning. Eliminated Florida State's threat at that point. They'd already knotted it up at 2. So unfortunate for Dinges there, but man, Brandon, he's been really good for Florida State in his first year here. I don't want to say in Tallahassee. He was just down the road at TCC. But at the plate, he's been rock solid. Batting average north of 300. Has gotten a hold of a number of pitches and sent them out of the ballpark. In fact, has 7 home runs so far this season.
Right, he's a guy who really can hit the ball hard. I mean, his exit velocity on average is hard. He's got 7 homers, 2 triples, 4 doubles. But what's pretty good about him, and for what he's been, is free swinging DH. He's walked more times than he struck out, which is very, very good at the college level, and especially for a designated hitter.
That's the exact point that I was going to bring up there, Brandon. 14 walks, now 15 walks actually, to 11 strikeouts for Marco Dinges, who's done a little bit of everything, and now is catching for Florida State here today.
Right, and done pretty good so far.
Full count. And that's upstairs, another walk for Marco.
That's pretty good eye by a DH, especially one that's such a free swinger, man. He's got the ability to hit balls very hard, some that are even out of the zone, but for a guy that's usually a free swinger, usually you see a ton of strikeouts. You just don't see that from him, which makes him such a special hitter.
Jordan Williams will check in to pinch run for Marco Dinges. Williams, a guy who we've seen make a few starts last year, primarily used on the base paths. That's not to say that he hasn't had a few chances at the plate. As a matter of fact, we were joking about Mikey Gonzalez for Bethune Cookman. Excuse me, Mikey Rodriguez for Bethune Cookman when his batting average is at 600 leading the SWAC. Right. Technically speaking, you're looking there at first base at your ACC leader in batting average. Right. 3 ABs, 2 base hits for Jordan Williams. He's batting a cool .667.
He is. When he's got his opportunities, he has surely taken advantage of them, but been used very heavily as a pinch runner in many games for Florida State because of his speed.
And off he goes. And that ball is dropped by Escobar. Williams more than safe and in scoring position for the Noles.
And Williams going all the way right there. Had an opportunity to pinch run yesterday. And on consecutive pitches, stole second, stole third.
And that was after being checked a number of times, too.
He was many pickoff attempts to try to keep him close.
1-0 to Cantu. FSU now as a team 39 of 41 on their stolen base attempts halfway through the regular season after last year as a whole being 31 of 43.
Absolutely. They have 7 just in the last 2 days.
That one pulled foul. I mentioned earlier when Daniel Cantu stepped into the batter's box that he's been particularly prolific in Florida State's bigger matchups. And of course, here in Tallahassee, one of the biggest matchups you're going to get is when you take on your rival Florida.
Right.
And the last time the Gators took on the Seminoles in Jacksonville, Daniel Cantu was 3 for 4, drove in 5, had his second home run of the year. And on the year against the Gators, Cantu is 6 for 7, 4 extra base hits, has driven in 7.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Seminoles are glad to have him. You're doing those, putting those kind of numbers up against UF, the longtime despised rival of Florida State. Cantu's a big game guy, man. Put him in a big situation in a big time, he's gonna come through. He's had a lot of games under. He talked about that earlier. He's played a lot of baseball. He's got a lot of games at this level under his belt, so that just makes him an experienced, mature hitter.
One of the most valuable bats in South Florida's Super Regional run back in 2021 when they knocked off Florida in Gainesville in a regional, then went to Austin to take on the Texas Longhorns. That one inside the Cantu. It gets behind Escobar. So on top of Cantu walking, Jordan Williams advances to third on the wild pitch.
Yeah, Jordan Williams hesitated because I don't think he could see the ball. Kind of looked like the catcher was going to block that ball up and just at bat. He's got some juice though. He's got the ability to hit the ball pretty hard.
That one in tight to Escobar. Cantu will take the 90. Tell you what, Escobar has had a long night's work out there in the backstop, and we're only 5 innings in.
That's for sure. You know, good pitching does do a good job of keeping the ball down, but making Escobar work back there, doing a heck of a job trying to keep these balls in front of him.
Backdoor breaking ball to Drew Farrow. That Adam played for FSU himself, also played in the Red Sox and Milwaukee organizations. A ball and 2 strikes now to Drew. And it's interesting too, and Brandon, I think you can speak to this, when you're the local guy coming into Florida State, it just means a little something more, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. I mean, this is like playing in the big leagues for a lot of guys that are local. I had the opportunity a long time ago, but I remember coming to the field as a 6, 7, 8-year-old boy and just dreaming of being a Seminole. You want to put on the garnet and gold, living here, and you know, for me it was an honor, and I know for Drew and a couple other local guys, it's a true honor to be able to put these colors on.
Frozen with the backdoor breaking ball, excuse me, did Jeffrey Gonzalez. Beautiful pitch by Gonzalez to send Farrow back to the dugout.
Yeah, just throws a really nice breaking ball. Drew Farrow, obviously looking fastball, freezes him, takes it for strike 3.
That'll bring up Cal Fisher. 8 Seminoles coming to the plate here in the 5th inning. That one high and tight to the freshman.
And Cal Fisher, who has all the ability in the world, can really hit for power. Hadn't found the bat, or hadn't been able to get the bat to the ball today. He fouls this one off though.
In foul territory, playable out there for Bethune Cookman, and Gitcom will do so. That retires Fisher here in the 5th. It can also send Lance Triple back there, who has a variety of gloves with all the different positions that Lance Triple has played in his time here in Tallahassee.
Absolutely.
We've seen Triple all over the outfield. Now he's been getting reps at first. We've seen him catch as well.
Yeah, a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys on this team and in this roster for Florida State who came into Florida State as catchers.
Jaime Ferrer was another one.
Absolutely. That's what makes it so cool at this level. Sometimes you're just not the best catcher on the field, but you may be one of the best 9 hitters, and you'll find you a position if you're willing to move. And you see Jaime Ferrer has turned himself into a heck of an outfielder in his time at Florida State.
Speaking of guys who can catch, who wear the number 7, Jack Gitcom, same thing. Primarily a catcher for Bethune Cookman, getting the start at first, and retired on strikes by Yoel Tejeda.
Yeah, Tejeda really has found some confidence, man. Look at this fastball, the high fastball up in the zone. Guy who can touch 96 with his fastball, just unhittable up there in the top of the zone. You see just misses on the outside corner there, but he's really starting to get a little bit of feel for it. He's finding that rhythm with his motion. You see him right here, another great fastball, which gets a quick out. Tejeda's really finding something out there. I like to see that.
Started off with a strikeout against Gonzalez an inning ago. A 4-pitch walk to Escobar, a ground out to Rodriguez, then struck out Febles to put an end to the 5th. Now quickly a strikeout and a flyout to Gitcom and Cintron as the order now turns over to Gonzalez-Febo.
Gonzalez-Febo on with a walk his first at bat, but Census struck out and flown out to center field.
And for Tejeda, while we've got a second, We talked about stacking positive experiences, positive outings, building that momentum, building that confidence. Wasn't particularly efficient the first couple of batters he saw, found a way to retire one, of course, walking Escobar on 4 consecutive pitches, but he settled in, ground his way through it, and is now, as you mentioned, really developing a feel 0-2.
Absolutely, and just in 1 and 2/3 innings so far, able to almost cut his ERA in half.
This one hit pretty well out to left. Williams won't be able to catch up to it. Gonzalez-Fibo with a base hit.
That ball right there was just off the end of the bat. Another great pitch though by Tejeda, man. You got to tip your cap to him. That's down in the zone. Leadoff hitter, just being a really solid hitter. Finds a way, gets the barrel to the ball. Although I think that was off the end of the bat a little bit, but when things are going well, balls fall. So great piece of hitting by Gonzalez-Fibo right there. But I think the highlight of what's going on right now is what Tejeda's got going. Now, if this guy can learn to find that rhythm from the stretch with a runner on base, I think that he's going to start seeing a few more innings.
5.56 ERA a season ago for Tejeda when he was a Florida Gator. 2-0 his record in Gainesville last year. 11 strikeouts, 22 and 2/3 innings of work. So working his way up ever so slightly toward that, an inning and 2/3 of work. Now trying to go 2 full if he can find a way through Garrett Chun. When you consider the velocity, the ability, as we've seen today, to locate that breaking ball, pitch backwards a bit.
It's not just that. You know, you see how he's able to keep that ball so down in the zone confidently.
Fisher up the middle. You talk about confidence. That young man, confident, fields his position well and puts away.
Around the mound between pitches, he kind of gets in his own head. But when he's I'd like to see what he does right here and see what his tempo looks like.
Senior from Pembroke Pines, Florida. Called strike on the corner. It's 1-1 to Diamez Ross. Here's the numbers on the year for Vegas: 7.66, 22 1/3, 6 walks, 9 strikeouts. And this is a guy that, you mentioned what Coach Jonathan Hernandez told us. This is a guy that he really wants to get going here as they start to hit that stretch play in conference.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to pitch a little bit yesterday when they played UCF, and things got a little out of hand pretty quick, so he didn't get an opportunity to, but he's got a lot of faith in him. He's a guy that can really pitch well, but like I said, you see him, he's working quick here against Diamez Ross, but
ground ball up the middle, and Diamez Ross is put away at first.
And that's being effective. You see Diamez Ross, man, fouling balls off, fighting balls off, and that ball just in on the hands of Diamez and gets a little bit jammed and shoots that ball right up the gut of the shortstop, who makes a routine play and gets Diamez Ross out.
Max Williams has had a good day at the plate today. He's 2 for 3. He's driven in a couple of runs, one on an RBI single in the 3rd, then his solo shot to lead things off in the 5th for Florida State.
Yeah, after showing bunt for a base hit, as if he was going to put it on the ground and steal a hit, he then turned on the next pitch and hits it over the right field wall.
Ground ball up the middle. Playable once again at short. Strong throw by Febles.
Almost identical ground balls by Diamez Ross and Max Williams right to the shortstop Febles.
And so here's Cam Smith.
And Cam Smith being played a little bit to the shift. You got the second baseman playing over to the shortstop side of second base now. Only the first baseman hanging out on the right side of the field, but Cam Smith has been pretty good at using the whole field this season, so surprised to see them play him in a pole position.
Reaches for that one, fouls it away, 1-2. Smith has kept his on-base streak going, walking on a full count an inning ago. Looking for a hit, though, is the sophomore, who in addition to the walk has struck out and flied out to center field.
Right, and you see, despite being 0 for 2, average still at 427 and an on-base percentage almost at 500. That's pretty incredible.
Came into today second in the ACC and fifth in the NCAA in hits per game at 1.85. The on-base streak is now up to 38. This one in foul territory will catch the netting. He'll see another pitch.
And you see, this is how Cam Smith has really adjusted his game. He has become a true hitter. He's got a 2-strike approach now. He's taking pitches that are a little bit more borderline instead of swinging at them, and he's just doing a good job of getting himself on base. Takes that one though, outside corner. Great pitch right there by Dylan Vega to get the hot hitting mound. And you like to see Coach Link Jarrett and pitching coach Micah Posey give him an opportunity to keep it going.
For context's sake, Tejeda came into today with 3 innings pitched. Has already worked 2 in this one and looked pretty dadgum good.
Yeah, he's working quick. He's throwing a lot more strikes over the last couple innings. That ball right there hit a ton, but straight up in the air. Max Williams. I'm sorry, Cal Fisher at shortstop waiting what seemed like 2 minutes for that ball to come down. But Tejeda, man, great job right there. You see, one thing that's different with these outings than the last one is his strikes are higher than his balls. He's thrown a lot more strikes than he's thrown balls, and his balls have been so much closer, hitting the edge of the corners or being down in the zone. So maybe he's figured something out.
He pops up Rivera and quickly hits with strikes 1 and 2 to Jose Gonzalez, who's grounded into a double play, singled, struck out, and struck out again.
Tejeda making quick work of the Bethune Cookman batter here. Great slider, starts it out over the plate, and that ball just breaks away from the batter. I'll tell you what, when you got a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, you have to be able to be ready to hit that fastball. And when he spins that slider off the edge of the plate, man, it's just so hard to lay off of.
In steps Irvin Escobar, 1-1 to the catcher. A fly out, a fielder's choice, and a walk for Escobar, who pulls ahead 2-1. Hitters count to the catcher.
Yeah, I think maybe crossed up right there by pitcher and Jackson West, but Jackson West catches that pitch. It looked like a strike to me.
So it works full. Elevated to right field, playable for Tibbs. He secures it, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Yoel Tejeda, as good as he's been. His bet
for the Seminoles, back again to try to do some more damage.
First pitch strike to Tibbs from Vega, who strong inning of work for Vega, going through the 9-1-2 in order. Retiring Diamez Ross with a ground out. Williams also a ground ball up the middle. And then Cam Smith was retired on strikes. Got him looking.
Yeah, Tibbs quickly down 0-2. Takes a really good pitcher's pitch right there in on the inside corner. Another one right there. Dylan Vega working every angle of that strike zone, leaving the last 2 just outside of it. Tibbs taking all the way.
That one fouled off his leg. He'll step out for a second, and I think what you're alluding to here, Brandon, and you just start running out of ways to describe the brilliance of James Tibbs III, and I think brilliance is probably an apt word for it. But I think one of the things I find most interesting, just sort of going through the database, is he's the second toughest guy to strike out in the ACC.
Which is, you know, one of the top conferences in the country. And it is chock full of phenomenal pitchers. So I'll tell you what, he's turned himself. I mean, you know, he is a self-made hitter. He has gotten better every single year, every single game, every single at bat, and he's just been impressive this year.
Count goes full. And so let's just recap things. That young man has an on-base percentage of about 500, a batting average north of 400, 15 multi-hit games, 13 home runs, and now officially twice as many walks as he has strikeouts.
That's a pretty exceptional offensive hitter for you right there. I'll tell you what, James Tibbs, you know, he came into the season, I'm sure he's on many major league teams' radars, but holy moly, I mean, he is putting on a hitting clinic at the moment.
One of the most potent bats in America. And Jaime Ferrer certainly can do plenty of damage himself. 9 home runs as a freshman, 7 a season ago, already 9 this year. And you go back to his freshman and sophomore years where he has either led the Noles in average or in total hits. He has been a bat that you circle, that you highlight, that you identify. Sure, there's swing and miss. There's been less of it this year to this point. And the power is back for Ferrer as well. Turns on this one, it's foul.
He's another guy. I mean, he's just got the ability to hit the ball out to all parts of this ballpark. We've seen him, you know, pull balls. We've seen him hit balls over the right field fence, and we've seen him go, you know, dead center here at Dick Hauser, which is not an easy feat to do. Hitting a triple, you know, to the wall on his first at bat. The guy has just exceptional power. And I'll tell you what, it goes to show you how hard these guys have been working out in the weight room in their offseason.
Got tied up there by Vega, though. That is the second strikeout for Jaime Ferrer, who, as you mentioned, has tripled and been hit by a pitch here today.
That's a great pitch by Vega. That ball just sinks in on the hands and under the hands of Jaime Ferrer. You see a little bit of the disappointment in Jaime Ferrer's face right there. You know he wanted a big hit, but it's just a great pitch by Vega.
Here's Jackson West jumping on the first offering.
Jackson West getting an opportunity last night to pinch hit and surprising everybody with a bunt for a base hit. You don't see that. You don't see a catcher come in and pinch hit very often unless he's filling in a position, sort of like he's doing now. But he comes in, and you especially don't expect the pitcher to drop a bunt on you. But Jackson with pretty good speed for a catcher, and like we talked about yesterday, man, a high baseball knowledge, just knowledge for the game, knowledge for the taking advantage of opportunities that are given to him. And it's quickly down 0-2 right here, but man, you watch this kid, he's going to battle.
Oh-2 upstairs to Jackson West. In fact, that's something that Brad Vanderglass mentioned preseason. He has this innate knack for grinding out ABs, especially down early in counts, can work those counts. 12 walks to 5 strikeouts. In fact, for Jackson West, it goes 2-2.
Yeah, he's going to grind through at bats, and that's such an advantage for a coaching staff and a team. It's not just that he's grinding through at bats, but you got to think that he's giving the next batter and the next batter and the next batter an opportunity to see so many pitches, and that just gives them a chance to be a better hitter the next time, you know, the very next batter.
That one's hit a ton, but it will end up in, or I think it just cleared those bleachers.
Yeah, I believe it cleared the bleachers, maybe bounced into the Florida State bullpen down there. But this is what Jackson West does. That's a borderline pitch, maybe even a ball, but too close to take. And, man, he just keeps on battling. Jackson West has seen 5 pitches this at bat.
And elevates the 6th one into left field. Chun makes the play. And that brings up Daniel Cantu.
Yeah, you see Jackson battling right there, but gets the ball down in the zone, just gets a little out on the front leg right there, and kind of hits that loopy fly ball. But again, 6 pitches, and that gives Cantu all the opportunity he needs to get his timing right for this first pitch.
Jumps on the first one, it's foul. And I'll tell you what, that takes away one heck of a play over there at first by Gitchem, who laid out and got on top of that one in a hurry.
Yeah, Gitchem holding the runner on. He's got to, so as the pitch goes home, once he realizes the pitcher is going home, he's got to kind of jump off the bag. So his momentum's carrying him towards second base. But Cantu pulling that ball down the line, he does a good job of changing direction and making a great diving stop, unfortunately on a foul ball.
That one fouled once again into his own dugout. Cantu has made his way aboard twice on walks on full counts. Back in the 4th, he led things off. In the 5th, he kept things going for the Noles when they would ultimately send 8 to the plate. And this time he's retired on strikes.
And getting some work in, but probably the best we've seen out of Yoel Tejeda Jr. in a Seminole uniform. Ate up 3 innings, 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk. Just incredible to watch that young man grow in front of our eyes right there.
0-1 to Michael Rodriguez. 0-2. I think it's an interesting point there, Brandon, when you talk about these midweek matchups. You obviously, your best arms are going to be in that starting rotation on the weekend, and so things in terms of pitching typically ramp up another notch on your Fridays, your Saturdays, your Sundays. But that, A, doesn't mean that you don't have a ton of good arms that you can throw on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And B, it doesn't make those Tuesday or Wednesday games any less important to win. And if you can go deeper into the pen and find ways to win, that says something about your club. And there are some teams here, even in the Sunshine State, who can't say that they have found ways to win in the midweek.
Right. Look at this pitch from Holtz right here. Just a hammer of a curveball. This ball starts out behind the batter and just works its way back down under the hands. Just a phenomenal sequence of pitches right there from the junior, Connor Holtz. But you're right, absolutely. Yeah, you know, you have to give these guys opportunities to gain a little confidence for those weekend series, you know. Tejeda hadn't had a whole lot of opportunities, and you give him 3 innings, and you give him the opportunity to work out some of those kinks that he may have been experiencing in past outings. And now, you know, he's got a little confidence going into an ACC weekend where you may need him to come in and eat an inning. You may need him to come in and close an inning.
Then, of course, you don't want the players to look this far ahead, but as announcers weekend, you start getting into a regional when you could play upwards of 5-6 games in that regional to super regional kind of window. You're going to go through some arms.
Absolutely. You're all hands on deck. You got to be able to use everybody at all times. Connor Holtz with another quick strikeout, man. He has got that curveball working today. He is just, that is the old yellow hammer. That's what we used to call it, man. That ball's starting up in the zone, eye level, and just dropping off the table. Looks unhittable.
Ramses Cordova came in to pinch hit and was promptly retired. Now another pinch hitter checking in.
Yeah, that's right there.
Jorge Rodriguez. This is essentially what we were told was going to happen by Jonathan Hernandez. Getting later in the game, some of these everyday guys folks who are tuning in that root for Bethune-Cookman or are more familiar with the BCU program, these are some of the names that you're more familiar with. The everyday guys, if you will. They're getting to sit a spell today, catch their breath, get ready for a big weekend against Jackson State.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, the younger guys, the guys who haven't played as much, still a 3-run game. You're still within touch. Now you're bringing in these guys who are everyday guys, theoretically late, and they have an opportunity here.
Right, and you know, it's the best of both worlds, right? You got some opportunities. Some of the younger guys that didn't get at bats, and they did a great job with their opportunities. But you want to make sure your guys are ready for the weekend. Your main guys, so you got to sneak an at bat in there for them and let them see a few live pitches and, you know, try to get their confidence up and their mind right for a big weekend.
Connor Holtz looking to strike out the side here in the 8th. And he will. 3 up, 3 down, 3 Ks for Connor. This time tying up Jorge Rodriguez. And just like that, Florida State heads back to the dugout, still leading by 3 at Hauser. Pablo Torres, the sophomore from Orlando, Florida, comes into work here in the 8th against the bottom of Florida State's order. FSU will go 7-8-9 to get things started. Torres, the sophomore, comes in with a 3-2 record, 5.25 ERA through 12 combined innings of work, 9 strikeouts to 7 walks so far this season for Torres.
It's a sophomore that Jonathan Hernandez is very high on. He's got all the ability in the world, man. He's a fastball slider guy. He's going to keep it down in the zone. Can run the fastball all the way up to 94. He's you see the amount of appearances and the amount of decisions he has already. He's been given a lot of opportunities and seems to be thriving so far this season.
So it'll be Drew Farreau who will step into the batter's box first to square off with Pablo. And likely Cal Fisher, who got the start up the middle of the infield as well. 3rd straight game that he has started at short. Giames Ross has rounded things out at the bottom of the order today for Florida State. He likely will follow. First pitch strike to Drew Farreau, who singled his first trip to the plate, advanced to second on an E6, and since then a fly out and a strikeout for Drew today. Started the year off with a career-long 8-game hitting streak, and when the bat gets hot for Farreau, it gets red hot, and he can drive in runs in bunches.
He has the capability to hit with some power, man. You hadn't seen the home runs, but the doubles are certainly there.
This one's slicing into left field. Nice play out there by Chun.
Ball hit very, very well. But Chun positioned just right. Runs that ball down towards the line and gets Drew Farreau out for the first half of the inning.
That'll bring up Cal Fisher. And, you know, Brandon, looking at what Florida State has done at the plate today, 7 hits, 5 runs. They've had a couple of home runs here today. Situationally, not certainly what Florida State would have liked. There have been some missed opportunities, and I think Link Jarrett, whenever he's met with us previously this season, when Florida State was seeing beach balls at the plate up and down the lineup, he even said, look, it's not going to be this way all season long. We're not always going to be hitting this well. And really what he was hoping to see was on days where you're not hitting the ball as well as maybe we've seen in the past. Can you pitch well enough? Can you field well enough? And I think today has been a case in which FSU has taken care of their business well enough at the plate and has not created any problems anywhere else and taken care of business equally so in the other major facets of the game.
Right, they're pitch. You know, you say pitching and defense wins games, but you got to score some runs, and Florida State doing it all year with the ability to drive the ball with power. Few big hits today. Think about a triple from Jaime Ferrer, a couple home runs, and that, I mean, You're absolutely right. It's not quite that 14, 15 hit game you're used to seeing from the Florida State Seminoles, but 7 hits, 5 runs, being very effective when they do get runners on base.
Fisher tied up there by Pablo Torres. 2 quick outs for Pablo. Good start here to his 8th inning, getting through Thoreau and Fisher.
Yeah, this ball running in on the hands, and Cal Fisher just can't get to it, man. That's a tough pitch. You see the Florida State dugout. Man, that's a good pitch.
Ball 1 to Diamez Ross. We've mentioned that Bethune Cookman will take on Jackson State this weekend. FSU going on the road to Chestnut Hill to take on Boston College, who is 5-7 to this point in ACC play. And so BC, a team that last year was in the conversation to perhaps host a regional. Heck of a year for Mike Gambino's squad. Coach Gambino now with Penn State. Todd Interdonato taking things over in Boston College, and so they're hovering around 500. An opportunity for the Eagles to notch some big wins this weekend, but for Florida State, a chance to really get some breathing room. Those 3 losses to Clemson have sort of put them around 500 as well, and I think everybody in America knows that Florida State's certainly capable of putting together a gaudier record in ACC play than that.
Right. You see that ball right there just ties up Diamez Ross.
He'll head back to the dugout. Florida State will look for 3 more outs. Top 10 and all those strikeouts that are top 2.
Right. You tip your cap to Coach Mike Posey, man, for just developing.
Colton Olison was hit by that pitch.
The umpire's telling him no, he didn't hit him. He's going to get him on the swing, maybe.
So some confusion here. Olison thought he was hit. He made his way to first.
Maybe it's the swing. I didn't see it. I didn't see the ball. Maybe it hit him on the bounce, but if you swing the bat and the ball hits you, it's a strike. But yeah, just the development of the pitchers and the knowledge that Coach Posey brings to this pitching staff and getting them to be confident in multiple pitches and being able to throw different, pitches and good, off-speed pitches and different counts and being confident. Man, he's just done a heck of a job with this team. That shows right there. You see their ability to throw these pitches backwards almost, and the strikeouts are there. Now that one behind Olison.
1-1 to Colton, who's another one of those guys that has seen some time at the plate already this season. 25 games played, 22 started for the redshirt senior out of Spring Hill, Florida. Cam Smith on the run, puts him away at first. That's the other thing, too, for Cam Smith. He's been solid on the hot corner for the most part this season.
He has been. He's looking way more confident at the hot corner. He's had he had a rough go one game against Louisville where he made a couple errors, and that just hadn't been his game this year. He has been lights out at the hot corner. His arm is spectacular, but his footwork for a big guy over there is pretty impressive.
Came out of high school as a shortstop prospect. Never had played third before. Link Jarrett decided, let's go ahead and give you a look, and it has been a move that has largely been a strong one for Florida State. 1-0 the count to George Gonzalez-Febo as the order turns over for Bethune-Cookman.
He's a guy that probably projects future-wise as a third baseman, a corner outfielder, because he's got the bat to do those, play those positions. But man, he just really has a smooth glove and really good footwork at third base. So I think he's found a new home over there.
Pulled foul.
Gonzalez-Febo up for the 5th time already tonight.
Sharply hit, another one foul. That'll get to the bleachers. That'll give us a chance to take a look at FSU's upcoming schedule. I referenced the series at Boston College. The Noles will go for the sweep over the 6th-ranked Florida Gators. Then they'll welcome Miami. Then Mercer in a midweek. Then they will go to Wake Forest. Strikeout for Connor Holtz. That's 4 strikeouts for Connor.
Absolutely. 5 batters. He is very confident in that curveball today, man. That thing is really, really pulling down out of, like, I mean, that's at eye level and then swoops right into the strike zone. Or if he starts it at the belt, it's right off the table at the feet. And nobody able to really hit it hard today.
Ground ball to short, and that'll do it. FSU has exceeded